Alright, how's it going, everybody? I am at New Hampshire in an Xfinity car in the NASCAR Heat 5 video game. Going to try to lay down a decent lap, then talk about the line I am running, show the setup, all that good stuff. I have ran a 29.264 with this. I looked at the leaderboard, and I think I'm still 3 or 4 tenths off the leaderboard. And I'm not sure exactly what the deal is. Somebody told me that New Hampshire is one of these tracks where you can ride along the wall and kind of bang the wall and actually get some really good lap times. I don't know about that. I'm trying to run it here, just using more or less a regular racing groove. This is a 3-gear setup, as you can probably tell by the fact that I am in 3rd gear running around here. I don't think I quite hit my marks. I'm not expecting this to be a real good lap. 29.4, I'd really like to get into the 29.3s with this. That's a little wider than I wanted to go through 1 and 2, but might still be able to get a decent time out of it. Let's see. It seems like running not the bottom groove, the suggested line, but more or less running the middle groove is where I like to run here. There was a 29.3, which was pretty good, so I'm going to start backing it down here and we'll talk about the line and then I'll show the setup and everything. I don't like the bottom groove here. It just doesn't seem like it is the fastest way around for me. I like to run kind of like I said, the middle groove. And coming up into 3 and 4, kind of there is where the pavement changes, and just a little bit before the pavement changes, I'm saying about right here probably, is where I like to start getting off the throttle and onto the brakes. And when I am coming through 3 and 4, if I can be kind of where that suggested line is and more or less have the left side tires either on that suggested line or right above it, and I am hitting the brakes, like I said, back where I told you before the pavement changes. Then as I get into the corner, I am easing off of the brakes. The car doesn't want to turn when you're heavy on the brakes, and I'm really not on the brakes that much here. But like I said, I start on it, then I ease off the brakes, so you're kind of almost like trail braking until you get to, I don't know, maybe not the middle of the corner, but close to it. Then once I get it rolling and get it turned and start to exit, I kind of like to try to come down and exit lower. Now I will tell you, this works real well, I think, to get decent lap times early in a run. But as you try to move from the middle to the bottom groove here, when you get the tires worn, it's going to want to spin out on you. When you get worn tires, what you need to start doing is just kind of running that middle all the way through on exit and not trying to chop it down on exit, but stay in the middle groove. Coming up here, kind of a little bit before you get to the inside pit wall there, about in here is where I like to brake. It seems like in 1 and 2 I run a little bit wider. I may be more or less kind of in this, I guess you call it the second groove. You can see where I'm right splitting these two white lines, white dotted lines. That's more or less where I like to run in 1 and 2. And then again, coming off of 2, I like to try to get down to the bottom, and that works well when you've got fresh tires. When you got worn tires, it'll want to spin out when you're trying to move the car down a groove on exit. You'll have to kind of keep running the middle groove as the tires wear. I run it as a 3-gear setup. I'm not going to say it doesn't get a little bit loose as the tires wear, and you got to be a little bit careful on exit, but it's not terrible. It's drivable. And I don't know that there is a way to get a car at New Hampshire that doesn't get a little loose when the tires wear. To get it to where it wasn't loose at all, it'd probably be undrivable tight at the beginning of the run. So that is what I got for New Hampshire in the Xfinity Series. Let's go and take a look at the setup. So on this, not a lot to say on the bump and rebound. I went way up on that right rebound, and that is to try to help get the front of the car to turn on exit. That right rebound is one of my big adjustments for corner exit, and going up on it helps the front of the car turn. Weights are pretty standard. Springs are pretty standard. I am surprised, I guess, a little bit in that I wound up with a 500 and 600 pound rear springs. That's typically what you see at like a 1.5 mile track with a decent amount of banking in it. New Hampshire is such a flat track, and usually on a flat track, you're having to go with lighter rear springs, but the car seemed to turn pretty well, and like I said, not get crazy loose even with this spring setup here. Tire pressures are pretty close. The sway bar, the default sway bar is like 2, and I absolutely could not get the car to turn at all with a 2 as a sway bar, and I think 2 is as high up on the sway bar as it'll go. Yeah, so that was the default. I wound up coming way down. Usually I'm within about 1 click of whatever the default setting was on a sway bar, but again, the sway bar is usually not set at 2 as a default. I ran the track bars really close to the same number because the lower right track bar keeps the car from getting loose on exit. You lower that to tighten the car up on exit. You increase that to make it looser on exit. And I really needed to lower that to try to keep the car from getting loose as the tires wore. Also, it seems like those right and left track bars, the closer they are together, the tighter the car is, the more gap there is between the left and the right. And when I say gap, I mean left lower than right. Occasionally you'll see a setup where right is lower than left, but not very often. Generally, right is higher than left, and the bigger gap between those, it seems like that makes the car a little bit looser. Not a lot of anything else other than that it is a 3-gear setup. I did fool around and almost used a 1.05 here and a 4.11 here, but I got just a little bit quicker. And when I say a little bit quicker, I don't know that it makes that much of a difference because it was within a few thousandths of a second. So anyway, that is what I got for New Hampshire. Hope you guys like it. I haven't posted a video in 4 or 5 days, so I'll try to get back on a more regular schedule, getting some videos up. I just passed over 1,100 subscribers. Thank you guys so much for the support and all the help and all the great feedback. It's wonderful to hear all those things. It really brightens my day when I see those things. So thank you guys again for the support. Hope this setup works well for you, and I hope you can turn a lot of fast laps at New Hampshire in the Xfinity Series with it. Have a great day.